NewsNation contributor, Democratic strategist, LA Times contributor, former House GOP Oversight Committee advisor Kurt Bardella. Okay, segment's up. We just went through your whole resume. Stephen A. Smith wrong?
No, actually, he's not. He makes a really good point. There's a reason why you're seeing, in general, President Biden's numbers with the African-American community just fall out from where he was in 2020. And part of that is this relatable feeling that many people of color in this country feel that the justice system isn't fair. And when you have Donald Trump going out there every day passing the camera saying, hey, look, the justice system isn't fair, Stephen A. is right. It's relatable.
Well, and to be fair also to Donald Trump, Donald Trump did something about the justice system for African Americans with the First Step Act.
Right.
Okay, let's play this out. Democrats would love nothing more than for Donald Trump to be convicted of a crime, right? That's the idea. Then what? You put him in jail, okay, as Donald Trump aptly put on Truth Social. We're seeing in real time a living martyr. How does that end up well for Democrats?
Well, I think you'd have to look at, and if our good buddy Scott Tranter of DDHQ were here, he would say that there is a certain segment of the Republican electorate that has said if he is convicted, that might impact how they vote in November.
Hypothetical, you know that.
I would say that to Scott Tranter next time he's here, but there were a lot of voters in the Republican primary who voted for, let's say, Nikki Haley, who said that if Trump gets convicted, that's a no-go for them. I don't think that a conviction certainly helps him politically. I think the people who feel that way are pretty much already in Donald Trump's camp anyway. I don't think there are new votes there for him to get in that conviction category.
There's a lot of people, and you look at Trump's polling, if you want to talk about polling after indictments. From the baseline, first indictment went up 16 points, then picked up a total of 30, then 36, then 40, all the way through. There's a lot of people who do not like Donald Trump, but like less, and I think you talked about it in the African-American community, like less the idea of the justice system being unfair against him.
Well, I also think there's this convergence of the justice system and then the election. I think people don't like the idea that a decision can be made about how they could vote in November being taken from them. I think that's part of the resentment right now, that this is all converging at the same time.
Is there any talk in Democratic circles of we may be in danger of the dog that caught the car here?
I think that they don't quite know how any of this is going to play out, and that uncertainty and the fact that could at any point in time between now and November completely hijack the campaign, I think that's something that they are concerned about and that they should be concerned about.
Right. So in other words, it'd be a flip, right? Because Republicans caught the car with abortion. Right. Okay. And now all of a sudden between now and November, you could have Democrats catching the car with Donald Trump in jail.
If the conversation is more dominant heading into November about abortion, women's rights, Democrats will win. If the conversation is more about whether or not Trump got a fair shake at trial, that's not good for the Democrats.
All right. That actually is, like, who defines the field of battle is who wins. Mark Preston on CNN. Take a listen.
I think that if he does go into this if that were to happen, first of all, I think you would probably see civil unrest across the country, certainly in some cities. That's one. And two, politically, if I'm the Biden campaign, I don't want to necessarily see him in jail because that's just going to get people more inflamed and more fired up.
I mean, you mean civil unrest like the 2020 riots? About an unfair justice system. Just putting that out there. All right, you get the last word.
I don't think that's a helpful thing to be putting out there right now. I think that's far ahead of where anything actually is that is sensationalizing.
You think that's one of the reasons that the judge has been pretty demure when it comes to the gag order?
Absolutely. I mean, again, this is uncharted territory. We have never been through this at any point in our history. And so erring on the side of caution, erring on the side of, you know what, we're going to do as little as we can do to limit speech as possible is probably the right posture to take given what we're talking about. And again, there's a certain practicality element. He's running for president. He's going to say what he's going to say, and you can't really police that.
All right, Kurt, it's good to see you. As always, thank you very much. Speaking of uncharted waters,